Well, hey, good morning, everybody. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. We're live on YouTube and Twitch with a good connection today. So we'll go ahead and move that ticker up to 2 days without incident. Look at us. We're a rocket ship. It's the Mrs. and I day off. Together, we don't get very many of these. Okay? So we did the adult thing and got drunk last night. Nothing like being too hungover to hang out on your day off. Love you, boo. I'm just kidding. Alright, don't jinx. Alright. So again, I always say keep me off the front page of Reddit, right? You know what's funny is my dad always told me neither a borrower nor a lender be. Because the loan loses itself in the friend, right? So don't borrow money from people that you like really care about. Because you're going to disappoint them when you're unable to meet the terms. Greta Thunberg was arrested at a pro Palestinian protest in London. A campaign group says, not great, Bob. Fuck your paywall, Reuters. Go ahead and share the show. We're back to Terrific Tuesday. Justice's Waiting Room, a daily podcast discussing news and politics, is live on Twitch and YouTube. I just noticed there was only a couple people in here, and I thought, well, I better share the show. And as always, free Palestine. Slava Ukraine. And as always, ooh, I want to undo that. Okay. As always, we are advocates of boycott, protest, and strike here, and part of the way that you can protest is with your behavior. And one of the ways that I encourage people to protest, stop using meta tools. Facebook, Threads, IG, WhatsApp, Messenger, get rid of all that shit. You're just putting yourself in great risk. Okay. So I post the show on Facebook and Twitter, but that's it. The apps, got rid of those a long time ago. Okay. And that's not to say I don't find myself still doom scrolling. It's just different now. Now I look at the news, right? So if you are in the Discord, you'll see that I sit, at work, pretty bored during the holidays, and what am I doing? Looking at the situation we're in, right? Certainly has the expansionist, imperialist vibe down, right? Yesterday, I think the story of the day, Donald Trump put together an envoy to make Greenland part of the United States. So, this stupid old man with absolutely nothing good on his mind consider that Denmark is a NATO ally. I also saw this story yesterday, yeah, about 18 hours ago. Yeah, right after work started for me. China has likely loaded more than 100 ICBMs in silo fields. Mm-mm-mm. Ukraine confirms 2 ships and an oil pipeline damaged in a drone strike on Russia's Krasnodar Krai. Hey, and in this article is an illegally built bridge. So you can also see a bridge that shouldn't exist. Interesting. Yeah, that bridge right there. That bridge not supposed to be there. The Tamenef Tegaz oil terminal in the village of Volna, Krasnodar Krai. No casualties. Nope. Pipeline 2 bursts and 2 ships damaged, fire spreading over an area more than 1,000 square meters. China has hit EU dairy products with provisional duties up to 42%. As you can see, local Chinese dairy industry faces oversupply. Well, I think the 60 minutes was about a deep dive into CCOT, right? Where Donald Trump sent people. And you can imagine when you're sanctioning the ICC and begging them not to charge you, you can understand, I think, why he wouldn't want the 60 minutes deep dive on CCOT to air. I didn't say I agreed with it. Wow, Qatargate. This ended up being like a thing, huh? Opposition leaders echo former premier's words after news reports sheds light on Netanyahu's aides' alleged work for Qatar while an Israeli premier's employ. I'm gonna read. This is fucking wild, huh? Former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett called on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to resign on Monday, accusing him of engaging in the cover up of the Qatargate affair, in which Bennett called the most serious act of treason in Israeli history. So, the statement from Bennett, who is running against Netanyahu in next year's election, which follows new revelations about the scandal. The affair involves allegations that top aides to the prime minister were acting as paid lobbyists for Qatar, where Hamas's leadership is based. Learn something new every day. Did you know that? Did we know that already? Hamas headquarters is in Qatar. Oops, I might have glazed over that. Um, Interesting. Makes sense why they bombed Qatar. Anyway, Netanyahu's office betrayed the state of Israel and the IDF soldiers during wartime and acted on behalf of Qatar for financial gain, and Netanyahu himself is covering it up. Whether Netanyahu knew or did not know that his office was working for the enemy in a time of war. Both positive. You got to understand something here about this whole situation that is like, well, no shit. He helped found Hamas. What the fuck are we talking about? Hamas is in Qatar. What are we talking about? How do you think they are able to, strike Hamas and like kill Hamas leaders and shit? Cause he fucking created Hamas and he's in bed with them. We, no one is surprised here, right? Not a shed of surprise. We've been talking about this. Wow. Most serious act of treason. And it's not that we didn't know. India and Russia are pushing a joint venture in critical minerals and rare earths. Yeah. And think about how wild it is. How wild it is. Like, Israel created Hamas. All of this is the machinations of a madman. Bibi's fucking insane. I mean, and if you've heard any of these people speak in English, you're like, they're literally, legitimately fucking crazy. Appointed by God and shit. It's fucking insane. Yeah, it's great. It's great to confirm. France's postal service was hit by a cyber attack. It's caused like a big delay. Oh shit, new Banksy. Let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. T-shirt ideas. Um, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney taps business executive Mark Wiseman to serve as Canada's ambassador to the United States. Longtime friend of the Prime Minister. Controversial pick. Has held senior roles at some of the country's largest pension funds. They need somebody to go in and put the fire out. Thailand and Cambodia are going to go back to the table and discuss a ceasefire. No thanks to fucking Donald Trump. Obvious. If anything, he fucking facilitated this shit. So I think what's going to happen, if nobody asked, hey Jared, can you prognosticate on what's going to happen? Yeah, I think Putin's trying to reel Elon back in by releasing that information about that I just a giant debris gun effectively shooting like big ass pellets into space at the web of satellites that Elon Musk has, potentially causing problems. So I think they're trying to reel him back in by announcing they're developing that weapon. So don't be surprised if Elon has a more prominent role. I think what's happening is Donald Trump is dying. So like Donald Trump is dying. They need someone to kind of like, because it's not JD Vance. Yeah, I think he threatens to take out Starlink. Elon kind of says, "How can I help? I don't want no beef, especially if you're gonna do that shit." And pulls him right back in because you got to understand, uh, you can if you're Russia, you do not want Democrats winning elections. It represents potential accountability. And God forbid they start electing veterans that don't take money from APAC, that have a strong will, right? That say fuck you and fuck him too. Like, we ain't working for you. We don't work like that. Lula, who's our buddy, and Argentina's Milei clash over Venezuela at the Mercosur summit. So, of course, and then, of course, I am a war slash history buff, so every now and then we're going to share articles that they don't necessarily like flow with the news, but it's important. It's like a big fucking deal. The Philippines is going to acquire two new frigates from South Korea. The company's called HD, Hyundai Heavy Industries, HHI. So who knew? Did you know Hyundai built fucking frigates? I didn't know that. Here's some more news on the Syrian war. It's important, if this is your first time listening to the show, kind of wonder what the flow of the show is. The whole goal here is most people have turned off the news. I don't feel like the media is serving the people. They're serving billionaires, so there's a lot of people not keeping up on what's going on in the world, and this is my attempt to do that myself, and I just so happen to do it with y'all, right? My wife said they make really cool earbuds as well, so China lodges a complaint about a Japanese official visiting Taiwan as Taipei pushed for cooperation. So, or something to keep in mind in regards to the U.S. and Canada. Canada's economy is doing like really good because Mark Carney was able to get rid of tariffs for all of 2025. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. You and I are much the same, my man. Horse, yeah, because I think that's just goofy as hell. Just want to make sure the Danish and Greenlandic leaders are making sure Donald Trump knows you can't just annex countries, dude. Oh yeah, it's fucking awesome. It, you know what? Listening to people talk about horoscopes, um, when I was going to school, and this is mostly a bit, it's like a joke. Har har, don't get in your fifis. When I was growing up, the people that were into horoscopes and shit were like the girl that cut your hair at Supercuts, uh, your server at the restaurant, uh, the people that talked about horoscopes when I was growing up were not good students. These weren't reliable sources of information, but they would be like, hey, fucking Mercury's in retrograde and shit. And you're like, what the fuck does that even mean? And they're like, I don't know, it's just two words that go together. And you're like, you, it's just an abs fucking waste. It's just a waste. It's like I said, it's like the person that didn't pay attention in class trying to tell you the answer, and you're like, that's not it though. And they're like, nah, huh? And you're like, can you give me a good reason? And they're like, total bullshit. And you're like, that's total bullshit that you just said. The words that just came out of your mouth that didn't make any fucking sense, that was your full blown explanation for why you think that's real. That's asinine. And they're like, you're a dickhead. Like, oh, you gotta understand. I'm not attacking you. I'm attacking your argument. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Oh, and I'm like, a lot of times at night, I can't see the fucking North Star. And I think about if I was a fucking nomad millions of years ago, I'd be shit out of luck because half the time I can't even see the fucking North Star. And you're trying to tell me like it's fucking position and shit. Listen, listen. I'm joking. I'm joking. It's a bit. It's fucking. I'm just saying. Astrology is the people that didn't pay attention in school. That's what they hang on to when they get older and they don't know the real reason shit's popping off like it is. And they're just like, yeah, it's because, Mercury's in retrograde. And you're just like, I just want to punch you in the throat. That's not the fucking answer. You know what I mean? Like, that was actually like, oh, it's. Oh my God. Yeah, because I'm a Cancer and Taylor's a Virgo. And apparently that, like, makes sense. So, to the surprise of no one, Germany's far right AfD is accused of gathering information for the Kremlin. Okay, much like in the United States. Okay, much like in the United States, Germany's far right party in bed with Russia. I guess I did know that they boiled lobsters alive, but apparently that's going to get banned. Just here's what I've been telling people my whole life regarding like astrology and your horoscopes and shit. Just make sure that you're not fitting the description. That's all I'll say. There are an awful lot of people that I've met in my life that live by the bracket they fit in. And you're just like, you're not supposed to model yourself after your horoscope, right? It's supposed to be like part of who you are. And I've observed people basing their behavior on their horoscope. And it's just like, that's not how that works. Oh, I'm an Aquarius. I'm supposed to be argumentative and I'm supposed to play devil's fucking advocate every time somebody presents me with a situation. Sit down. What? And don't act like I haven't met people in my lifetime who are so motherfucking dumb that they think the horoscope is what you're supposed to be like. George Carlin said half of all people are stupid, the other half are even stupider. So I have a new project for you. In the next week, I want you to ask 10 people that believe in like horoscope and astrology and shit, and I want you to ask them, do you think you're supposed to meet the description? And see how many people say yes. And you gonna come back to me and be like, Jared, I'm fucking disappointed in people. And I'm like, Jared already knew that. I've had that conversation before. Mm-hmm. Yep. A little bit of homework. Ask 10 people. And they already gotta be believers. So these aren't people that you gotta try to convince that that hey, astrology's real, horoscopes are real. I want people to already believe this shit. People that already believe in it and are like, oh, fuck yeah, it's real. And then it's like, okay, do you conform to the ideals of the part of the calendar that you fit under? Is that how that works? Or are you yourself, and when they describe a cancer, they're describing you? Do you get what I'm saying? I believe my whole heart, I believe you're going to get a non zero number of people that say, I read my horoscope and then that's how I behave. Because that's the kind of way humans work. Hmm. Think about how you'd behave if you weren't aware of it at all. Then back up your whole life up into this moment and you're like, oh fuck, Jared's right. Yeah, yeah, man. If you're rushing to a newspaper every single day to read your fucking horoscope and you're like docile, calm, you know what I'm saying? Quiet. I'm gonna be those things. It's just, that's how people are. That's how fucking people are. I'm telling you, I've met people that are like, oh, I'm a Libra, XYZ. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, people die. What? The fuck? That's how people operate. You know what I'm saying? People make important decisions based on that dumb shit. And I'm just gonna be the one person you've met in your life that's like, it's not meant to be taken seriously. Just like religion, right? Zeke said, I'm skipping his homework. You don't want to be disappointed in people. That's what it really is. Because I'm right. There'd be a non zero number of people that are like, oh, yeah, I read my horoscope. And then I'm like, that's exactly how I'm behaving. Hmm. Putin effectively chose Witkoff as the U.S. negotiator with Russia, says the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, you're gonna skip. You're skipping out on the homework because you are gonna not stop shaking your head. You'll never stop shaking your head because as soon as you run into somebody that's like, yeah, I read my horoscope and then that's who I am. God, I'm telling you, I know exactly. I know how people are. Oh no, I don't know who I'm gonna be until I read my horoscope. You know when the Kremlin is denying a Reuters report. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov dismissed a report by Reuters suggesting that Moscow aims to seize territory across all former Soviet republics. Awesome. Awesome. Calling the information untrue. That means it's true. Okay. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard rejected the report, but she's a fucking traitor too. So, as part of Canada's NATO commitment, their military is considering permanent bases in Latvia. I'm glad, Taylor, I'm glad that you are who you are, and it just so happens that your horoscope lines up. I'm proud of you. And then I think we shared this story earlier. 2212. Yeah. Ukraine is saying, hey, Russia's gonna uh, commit like a massive attack during the holidays. Don't be shocked, right? It's not like we didn't talk about it. Something gross is gonna happen. Russia and China pledge support for Venezuela as Trump ratchets up pressure on Maduro. So I think, huh? Yeah, I'm Taylor. I'm glad. I'm glad who you are just so happens to fit in the description. You know what I'm saying? It's so an area effect weapon, an AOE weapon. Literally, it's like they never played video games until now. It's like shooting. Oh, we used to call it a grape charge. But what you take is like an old ammo can and you fill it with brass, like spent ammo, and nails and screws and any other used razors and shit. And you put explosives in it and you set it up so it looks like an ammo can. Um, and everyone that you work with, they know, don't fucking touch that shit. But the other bad guy don't. And they'll run for your ammo cans. And then that shit explodes. Yeah. That's what like an area of effect weapon is. Yeah, me too. I'm a huge AoE fan. Zeke, if you're a big AoE guy, okay. Area of effect means you push a button and everything dies in all around you at once. It's fucking fantastic. And my recommendation is if you're about that life, Path of Exile, Righteous Fire Chieftain. The content creator to watch, his name's Pox, Pohx. That's probably the best AoE character in video games is the Righteous Fire Chieftain. Um, and then in Diablo, I play an AoE paladin. Anyway, but yeah, Arctic Blast sorcerer in Diablo. hmm I'm playing as a Hammerden, which is spinning hammers in an area of effect. It's chef's kiss. Yeah. Yep. They put the paladin back in Diablo 4, so now you can just sling hammers. Hanwha Ocean shares jump 10% after Trump says a South Korean firm is going to build warships for the U.S. Navy. Polish armed forces have scrambled aircraft after Russia strikes Ukraine. So shit's about to pop off. But I feel like I've been saying that. I just want to point out how there was a fucking sentence in a story about Tulsi Gabbard. She's not even getting her own story. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard says reports on Russia wanting to overtake all of the old Soviet Union are false. You would think she'd get her own story. She got a sentence. That shit was buried, hidden behind a paywall. Oh, I love seeing them squirm. Crimes will not go unanswered, and this is what we're talking about. Is you want to make sure that what happens over the holidays here, that people are held accountable specifically for the timing of their attacks. It is important. It is a it's a morale killer on both sides. You wanna demotivate people, have them doing bad shit during the holidays. You wanna demoralize your troops, have them doing some fuck all on Christmas. hmm Remember, a reminder: Israel approves 19 new West Bank settlements aimed at blocking a Palestinian state. Look at this crazy looking motherfucker, bro. Bezalel Smotrich. I wonder how old he when he committed his first act. Look at this dude, bro. He looks insane. You ever just look at someone and you're like, batshit, that person's lost their motherfucking marbles. Look at his eyes. You gotta understand, Israel has approved 69 settlements in Gaza over the last 3 years, all aimed at preventing a Palestinian state. So understand, Israel has effectively annexed the Gaza Strip. That's what the point of this is. The latest approval come days after the United Nations said the expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank, all of which are illegal under international law, had reached its highest level since 2017. Yo, that motherfucker looks crazy though. No wonder everybody just bows down. They look like psychos. Looks drugged. Whoo boy. This seems awful weird. Don't you think this is weird? I think this is weird. So the U.S., right? They meet with the U.S. You know, I'm reading. A car bomb killed a senior Russian general in southern Moscow yesterday morning. The latest high-profile army figure to be blown up in a blast that came just hours after Russian and Ukrainian delegates held separate talks in Miami on a plan to end the war. Kiev has not commented on the incident, but Russian investigators said they are probing whether the blast was linked to Ukrainian special forces. Thank you and good night. The attack was similar to other assassinations of generals and pro-war figures that have been claimed or are widely believed to have been orchestrated by Ukraine. Slava fucking Ukraine. Russian Lieutenant General Fanil Sarvarov, 56, head of the Operational Training Directorate of the Russian Armed Forces General Staff, was killed. Yeah! Yeah! When his bomb, which was placed under a parked car, detonated in a residential quarter south of southern Moscow. Man, you know what has happened in 2025? Billionaires and fucking warmongers are dying. And it's fucking glorious, isn't it? Warmongers. Meanwhile, Russia is cutting power to cities in Ukraine. Yeah, it's so good. Something to understand about explosives is that they are incredibly cheap. That's what's really sad, crazy about explosives. Amazon is blocking 1,800 job applicants from suspected North Korean agents. North Korea trying to infiltrate Amazon, presumably to get jobs um, managing AWS. Important to reiterate again, China and Russia openly support Venezuela. I'm thinking about that. China considers the U.S. seizure of ships a violation of international law, and we've said that too. hmm So again, in the United States, we have the First Amendment, where I can say that Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, as is Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, and all should be arrested and tried by the ICC. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Okay? And there's nothing that the government should do about that. I have a freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. In Israel, they're going to shut down a radio station. Okay? Gali Zahal, one of Israel's most popular radio stations, which apparently broadcasts divisive content. The government stifling someone's right to free speech. How can American dollars go to Israel when Israel will not allow its own people to exercise free speech? Is that what we want? Is that American values? Say nothing of the murder, kidnapping, torture, starvation, the genocide that you're committing in fucking Gaza, the illegal fucking settlements that you're putting up, the fact that you're a traitor to your own people. He was working with Qatar, where Hamas is headquartered, while at war with Qatar. As the Israeli prime minister, he's a traitor. Let's switch over to American news. Canada, here's NBC News talking about the postponed 60 Minutes segment. It was just streamed in Canada. People were watching on YouTube. Okay. So Trump was able to stymie the release of this 60 Minutes report on CCOT, which is a torture prison in El Salvador. The idea is that you may make it to CCOT, but you won't leave. Like everybody that goes there dies. So you can imagine if the president of the United States is found guilty of I believe it's exiling, right? Didn't we say it's not even, there's a word. It's not deportation. It is illegal to deport people in the frame that he's using without uh, due process, without a right to a speedy, fair trial. Um, he's bypassing that, which is wildly fucking illegal, under the guise of national security. And the president of the United States sent people that are, I wouldn't even wholly, WHOLLY. I don't know that it was wholly not American citizens. So and again, I'm being careful with my words. Rendition. Thank you very much. Rending is what he's actually done. It's like exiling someone from your country under the cover of darkness. It's, again, even worse. It's even worse than deportation. Keep this in mind. It's even worse. Yep. And definitely a crime. Rending someone. Mhm. You can imagine 60 Minutes posts this long form video of evidence of this. And if there's one person in CCOT with that speaks the fucking King's English, I'm an American citizen, I have been rended. If anyone, I mean, you're talking about like Zeke said CCOT was supposed to be for the gangs. There was a time when things were so bad in El Salvador because of them. Nayib came in with the hammer, just rounding gang members, and now the violence is so much lower than now than it was. Yeah, I understand that there was at one point purpose. All right, it's important to point out a neo-Nazi terror group steps up U.S. operations as the FBI pulls back. Online activity shows the base, headed by alleged Russian asset Ronaldo Nazaro, sees U.S. and Ukraine as key centers. So, here you go. I'm going to read. Amid high-profile arrests in its Spanish cell, the American-born and designated neo-Nazi terror group The Base, once a major preoccupation of FBI counterterrorism efforts, has all but faded from U.S. headlines. But a flurry of online activity show this group is still active stateside and considers the U.S. an operational nerve center. headed by Ronaldo Nazario, an ex-Pentagon contractor turned alleged Russian intelligence asset. The base has been busy of late pursuing European expansions. Besides its heavily armed members in Spain, its Ukrainian wing, it's linked to multiple acts of terrorism inside the country and claimed the high-profile July assassination of an intelligence officer in Kiev. But the base's online footprint also paints a picture of a more careful yet active American presence. Videos from November show masked men shooting military style rifles and pistols in what they claim is an Appalachian forest. Another June photo from the same Appalachian cell shows 5 armed men in skull masks holding rifles and brandishing the base's black flag, while a cell from the mid-Atlantic captures 3 members performing Sieg Heil salutes. Go figure. A Russian email address not ceased since an FBI background. So, it's important to stay up on some shit. Speaking of CCOT, a judge has ordered the administration to submit plans for return of migrants deported to El Salvador prison. Oh yeah, Jesus Christ. The base. Never even heard of it. I saw this headline yesterday. We did not talk about this. A 13-year-old girl at a Louisiana middle school got into a fight with her classmates who were sharing AI-generated nude images of her, and she got suspended from school. I'm so glad I don't have children. I'm so glad that not only that I don't have kids, that I am not myself a child in this era. I'll fully let you know now. I'll say the most senseless shit I've ever said in my life. If you think for 5 seconds I'm not trying to put my fist into the back of someone's skull through the front, when I find out that you're creating AI generated nude images of a 13-year-old girl, I don't care how old you are. You have a new problem. It's me. I'm the problem. Mhm. Yep. Yep. There's a reason. There's a reason right there. Jared Malat would have killed a child, mhm, for doing shit like that in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I don't give a fuck who you are. I'll backhand you through that wall. I don't give a shit. What? Yeah. Yeah. Well, am I surprised? No. Nope. Investors hunting for safety are putting all their money in gold and silver. Man, feels like the stock market is not a good indicator of the strength of the economy. You know what I'm saying? 42 minutes ago, Reuters reporting U.S. Justice Department releases a new tranche of Epstein files. Yeah, and parents. 5 killed after Mexican Navy plane on medical mission crashes in Texas. Ended her life. Yeah, that's what I was be worried about. Ha! A swimmer's missing after a suspected shark attack in California. Fuck yeah! That's what I'm talking about. Lover's Point. 55-year-old Erica Fox. I'm going to continue reading. Is this idiot by themselves? Oh, God. One person reported seeing a shark with a body in its mouth. Damn. Oops. This is in Monterey, California. 50 to 100 yards from shore. Now, do I believe the person that said they saw a shark with a body in its mouth? No. But that's fucking crazy. Yeah. I want to make sure that I'm the person that says it. I'll be the adult in the room. Sharks aren't really like that. Killer whales? Killer whales are like that. Yeah. Killer whales will really rip you in half and eat you. Uh-huh. Not sharks. No. In fact, if you actually observe sharks, and I'm deathly afraid of them, just like snakes, so I've spent a lot of my life observing sharks, they don't have that big a mouth. Actually, you you know what I'm saying? You know when you look at a dog and you're like, oh, that dog's not really going to do much damage. They don't really have that big of a mouth. That's a shark. Yeah. And I've been around sharks. I spent a lot of time in the ocean when I was on active duty, swimming. Um, Sharks aren't really like violent. You know what I mean? They're not coming at you like that's they're not piranhas. Yeah, so I get it. I get it. Somebody's missing. Somebody said they saw. You mean you didn't have your phone in your hand and you didn't record that shit? A shark with a body in its mouth? We're on some whole other shit. I'll also say that. I'll also say this. Sharks, what they do is they bite and to maim you and swim off and let the blood start to pour out of you, and then they come back and finish. And it's, I just don't, I just don't think like a shark's like carrying a body around in its mouth and shit. I'm just saying. I smell bullshit. I mean, we had the conversation earlier about the horoscope thing. You can obviously tell that my fucking bullshit meter is functioning, right? Donald Trump is an idiot, says the AP News. I'll let you read the headline. I'm kidding. Trump has paused 5 wind projects off the East Coast, citing national security concerns. He's an idiot. It's killing all the birds. Little video gaming news. I did not even know this person's name, so no, I'm not also mourning them. It's not even that. Somebody said they saw it. You mean to tell me no way. I normally don't even like kids because kids don't like me because I'm not a parent. Russia escalates attacks on Odessa. I mean, that's obviously not news. A South Carolina pastor is being charged with allegedly cyber stalking his wife before she died by suicide. Holy fuck. Micah Miller was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in 2024. Damn. Don't forget, it's a fucking crime. A former South Carolina pastor has been indicted on federal charges of cyber stalking his wife, including allegedly posting a nude photo of her online? A pastor did Some people are saying Jesus in the comments, and I'm like, right? Jesus, yeah. We need Jesus. What the fuck? Y'all fucked that all up. You know what's crazy about Jesus? We're going to talk about Jesus for a moment. So, Jesus actually existed. Yeah, I'm not religious. I don't believe in God. That's stupid. Jesus, though, actually a person. Okay? First of all, Jesus was crazy. He thought himself the Son of God. Make sure we look ourselves in the mirror and say, it is insane. It's insane to think that you're the Son of God. Did he perform all those miracles? No. Stop it. Stop it. Did he say all that stuff, though? Probably. He's pretty quotable. Seems like a good guy. Okay? What's important is and again, I want you to make sure you listen to me. This ain't about your feelings. This is about facts. And that's all I care about. That's all I care about. The only reason that you know who Jesus is because of a man named Josephus, who was a Roman librarian, who saved a bunch of documentation when the Roman libraries burned down, including, like, very important fucking religious texts that your entire fucking knowledge of Christ is based on. And what it is important to understand is that this means the reason that you know who Jesus is because a librarian chose that individual and said, this person, they were only alive for like 36 years, was like a good person the whole time. Here's your deity. Okay? Keep in mind, there were thousands of them. I hate to disappoint you. He was literally chosen because, like, of the quality of the story. This isn't me saying that, like, he wasn't a good person. I didn't say that. What I find particularly interesting about the story of Jesus is that he was mistreated. It's funny to say, like, Jesus is probably like the best person ever. Yeah. Hung on a cross, which the act of hanging someone on a cross was typically a petty theft punishment. It's kind of like fucking rending someone for a crime that's akin to jaywalking. Okay? Jesus was convicted at the hands of Pontius Pilate for breaking the laws of sacrament. Working on a Sunday, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't supposed to die. Okay? He wasn't supposed to die. Usually, when you hang someone on a cross, they're just there till the evening. Their family comes and fucking gets them. And takes them down and shit. And dresses their wounds. Okay? It's important to understand that while he was hanging on a cross, his family wasn't allowed to come up. The Roman soldiers stabbed him and mortally wounded him while he was hanging on the cross. He was murdered by Roman soldiers. And then he was dead by the time that his family was able to come and take him down from the cross. And so you would look at that situation and you would say, the best person probably ever mistreated by the government. Huh. Just make sure we point that out. They don't really tell you that, do they? Hey, probably the best person ever was effectively killed by the police. And understand that's what really happened. In Atlanta, three inmates, including a murder suspect, have escaped. Yeah, I'll take magic any day. Yeah. New court documents show a Cincinnati ICE agent accused of strangulation. 47-year-old Samuel Saxon. Me too. I found the parables underwhelming. Bari Weiss was installed at CBS by Donald Trump, doing her job, delaying that 60. That's what she was there to do, was to delay the release of that 60-minute special. Donald Trump has ordered 30 U.S. ambassadors to leave their post. I don't know why you would do that. I'm reading from the New York Times. The Trump administration has ordered nearly 30 ambassadors and embassies around the world to return to the United States within weeks, a move that would leave a large gap in the American diplomatic corps, even as President Trump says he wants to resolve conflicts through diplomacy. Donald can't do diplomacy when you don't have people there. Many of the ambassadors were told in recent days to leave their posts by mid-January. They are all Foreign Service officers who had been appointed to their positions by the Biden administration and confirmed by the Senate. A standard tour, 3 to 4 years. The union representing career diplomats said this is the first time that such a mass recall had taken place of career diplomats serving as ambassadors or chiefs of mission. I just want to point out that the spokesperson for the union's name is Nikki Gamer, by the way, and that's a badass last name if I've ever fucking heard one. Gamer. Gamer. That's great. Yeah, I don't know why she would do that. The narco terrorist elite. So here's Marco Rubio. Jesus Christ. If you're a little too online, you likely know that Marco Rubio, as a teenager, made extra cash working for his late brother-in-law, Orlando Sicilia. The business imported and sold exotic animals as a front for moving nearly 500,000 pounds of cocaine and marijuana. How's that guy a public official? What the fuck? Also, what the fuck is going on in the comment section? Joe Biden stopped the execution of 37 men. Donald Trump's Department of Justice wants to kill all those people. Oh yeah. He's definitely wavering. Teetering on death. Here's a news story. JD Vance begins to lock down parts of MAGA coalition for 2028. You're right. I'm reading. Vice President J.D. Vance hasn't formally announced that he will seek to succeed President Donald Trump, but a key piece of the grassroots wing of the MAGA coalition is beginning to line up behind him nearly 3 years ahead of the 2028 election. That dude could be in prison by then. Not only did Vance win an endorsement from Erica Kirk, who he's banging, CEO of Turning Point USA and widow of the organization's slain co founder, Charlie Kirk, on Thursday night, but a straw poll of attendees at its America Fest conference showed Vance taking 84%. So, yeah, he's looking like it. Yeah, God don't like ugly, man. Anyway, that second picture of Erica Kirk is not doing her anything. You see that second fucking picture of her? Man. I'm like turning my head to look at her like, yeah, she's. Hey, look, God don't like ugly. It's just. Yeah. Yeah, it's like she endorsed her friend. What the fuck? Yo, and here's what's fucking insane. Okay? And we're jumping around, but in the Bondi Beach mass murder that happened, right? Two gunmen, fucking father and son. Police are saying they planned this shit for months. When did you know that? That's an issue I have. The suspected gunman in the Bondi Beach attack threw explosives at the start of the deadly incident and had practiced shooting weeks before. They meticulously planned the attack for months. They even visited Bondi Beach and ran recon. Jesus Christ. Here's Trump per CBS News. 3,000 schools across the country hosting Turning Point seminars. The Trump administration seeks to cancel thousands of asylum cases, saying applicants can be deported to third countries. Jesus. Daily Beast reporting Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein flight with a 20-year-old woman revealed in the files. Yeah, this is insane. Even Taylor came and was like, "Hey, what?" Taylor came to me and she's like, "Why would Cardi B call JD Vance an assassin?" And I'm like, "Cause he sat with the Pope and he died. He sat with Joe Biden or not Joe Biden. He sat with someone else and they died. He's like a Black Widow, except a boy. He has a beard and a peepee. Yeah, Cardi B is whack as fuck. I can only barely hear you, Taylor, if you're saying anything to me. JD Vance's 2028 strategy be even worse than Trump. If you ever wondered. Not Cardi B. It was Nicki Minaj. It was Nicki Minaj. I think it was Nicki Minaj was the one, and we learned like she has no talent. All right, ready? Writing fair headlines in an era of rising fascism is always a challenge, but the New York Times whiffed it spectacularly on Sunday in their weekend coverage of America Fest. America Fest! The alarming Turning Point USA conference. Vance refuses to take sides in a GOP fight over bigotry. While that may be true in most surface sense, Vice President J.D. Vance has insisted that the MAGA coalition includes all of you and denounced purity tests. He has chosen anti Semites and other. Yeah, no shit. Nick Fuentes. So you gotta understand, Nick Fuentes, J.D. Vance are pretty much tied at the hip. If you wanna know, like who the fuck is that guy? It was Nicki Minaj, not Cardi. I had Cardi B in the brain because I was drinking and listening to Cardi B last night. I'm letting you all know now he's a turd. Donald Trump's a turd. Say it. Donald Trump has announced a new Trump class battleship, part of a Golden Fleet. The fastest, biggest, 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built. The USS Defiant. This is from NPR. Hey, NPR. Yeah, didn't somebody say Nicki Minaj has her husband's in jail and her brother's in jail? And so this is her trying to get people out of jail? A new warship named after himself. Epstein says, here's from the Justice Department. One thing, our love and caring for young ladies in the hope they'd reach their full potential. Here you go. Here you go. This is from justice.gov. I just want to peep the handwriting. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. Ladies, don't let your babies grow up to be out pedophiles. I guess you know what I'm saying? Donald Trump got the idea for the USS Defiant from G.I. Joe. Life is unfair, like what the fuck? Yeah, I've I just unfucking fathomable. And the fact that there are people that are like, yeah, that was normal. You sick fucks? What? A Wired article titled "Big Balls was just the beginning." Remember, to these pedophiles, they're a victim. They're afflicted. Oh, I didn't choose to like young women. That's what Jeffrey Epstein is saying. Insanity. Here's what that article says. Since the beginning of the Trump administration, the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, the brainchild of billionaire Elon Musk, has gone through several iterations, leading periodically to claims, most recently from the director of the Office of Personnel Management, that the group doesn't exist or has vanished altogether. But Doge isn't dead. Many of its original members are in full-time roles at various government agencies in the new National Design Studios, headed by Airbnb co-founder Joe Gebbia, a close ally of Elon Musk. I'm going to keep reading. Even if Doge doesn't survive another year or until the U.S. semi-quintessential, its original expiration date, per the executive order establishing it, the organization's larger project will continue. Doge, from its inception, was used for two things, both of which have continued apace: the destruction of the administrative state and the wholesale consolidation of data in service of concentrating power in the executive branch. It's a pattern that experts say could spill over beyond the Trump administration. They're saying a lot more in that article than that article's was. Huh? What does it say? Is that the one that got hit by a girl? I don't know. Trump and Putin share a craving for status. That's why they both want to destroy Europe. Liberal democracies review Putin's. Jesus Christ, Jared. Liberal democracies view Putin's Russia as a bully and Trump's US as an angry drunk with a bazooka. It is true. He is kind of like an angry drunk with a bazooka. Oh, they're trying to make it make sense, everybody. Wall Street Journal saying the U.S. is targeting oil tankers in a bid to stymie the global black market. Here's their justification. New York article, Inside the Deportation Machine. Probably a good article. Oh my god. Just waiting till they start deporting Americans back to the United States. All right, the complex deportation network behind Trump's immigration crackdown. I'm reading. To deliver on President Trump's campaign promise to deport millions of people, his administration is pushing new approaches to immigration enforcement across much of the government. Officials have closed the border to asylum seekers. They have unleashed immigration officers, often wearing masks, to make arrests on city streets. They have revoked legal status from recent arrivals. They have built new tent camps and reopened prisons to hold immigrant detainees. They have pushed foreign leaders to accept deportees and local officials to allow ICE agents into their facilities and databases. As the crackdown progresses and the border remains essentially closed, both the people targeted for deportation and their journeys through the system now look very different. Most ICE arrests at jails and prisons take place at Republican led states like Florida, Georgia, and Texas. I think that's what we shared. More than a dozen staffers at the Heritage Foundation leave to join a Mike Pence led nonprofit, Advancing American Freedom. AAF, American as fuck. Did y'all know that he founded a fucking nonprofit? Huh. Donald Trump at one point said that the U.S. had too many federal holidays, and then he just added two. Thanks, Don. And yes, I saw JD Vance say you don't have to apologize for being white. Haven't actually ever had to do that. Anti Semitism is the only shared hatred by capitalists and communists. Oof. Hey, guess what? I didn't also know. I didn't know that commies were anti Semites. So, learn something new every day. Countering anti Jewish hate. The Texas judge who refused to officiate same sex weddings is suing to overturn marriage equality. Jesus. I don't have a victim and persecution complex where I think that because some white people are bad, that means everybody thinks I'm bad because I'm white and I should apologize. Mostly because that's fucking stupid. What the fuck are we talking about? Burp. But yeah, Donald Trump has named Christmas Eve and December 26th federal holidays. I think I'm done. I'll never understand it. But, that's part of all of this is that we are not required to also understand it. That is not a requirement. Sometimes shit is just going to not make any goddamn sense. And we're just going to all sit here and be like, well, remember how we were talking about shit just not fucking making sense? This is that. And I refuse to believe that. Never mind. Never mind. Fuck that. I wouldn't shock me if Reggie Miller and Luke Wilson and what's the dude's name are friends. I don't think they're friends. Just fucking kidding. A little bit of etherish, a little bit of weather. Let's get out of here. Yeah. Oh boy. Weather intensity is high and going to be staying high. Okay. Here's Y'allbot live. It's about the only AI I'll pay attention to. Okay. It's a 24-hour interactive weather map that talks, and it mostly talks about intense weather. Remember, the entire reason that we even closed the show talking about weather is because a failure of adults to separate their personal political beliefs from what is good for the people around them. And in case you don't know, in Hill Country, Texas, elected officials declined weather alert, weather information systems because it came from a Democrat. And as a result, there was a big nasty spot of weather in Texas. A bunch of people went missing, some people died, and all of it could have been avoided. And a lot of it was kids that were at a summer camp. And as a kid who went to summer camp, it struck me. They don't even give a fuck about these kids, which they clearly don't. So, hey, if your shit is in California, it's wet. That's just how it is. Now, if you're in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, you might be getting a little wet, kind of depending on where you are. Okay? And then the rest of the United States is clear until you get to West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, New York, and the eastern seaboard, from northeast North Carolina north, excluding Virginia. So it's kind of like this, and you can see it. See how there's really nothing in Richmond, in Virginia, and like it's like on either side. Like, so a little bit of stuff in West Virginia, but mostly up in the northeast corner of the country. And it's got the weather intensity picking up over the course of the day. So hey, just letting everyone know you're going to be talking about what's going on in California and the northeast part of the country for a while. Because California has got flooding and there's severe travel conditions and whiteouts reported in New York, but a big winter storm warning in New York and Pennsylvania. Okay, and a high risk flood threat in SoCal. So, isn't climate change fun? No? Okay. We're at near normal precipitation levels here in Indy. All right. So, hey, have a great day. Happy holidays.